Hi, this video is going to be about Nice DCV, a high-performant tool for 3D remote visualization, and I'm going to show you how you can use this tool just within a few deployment steps. So, this video is interesting for everyone who, number one, needs more resources. So CPU, more GPU, more memory. You choose. So Nice DCV gives the possibility to deploy a machine in the cloud and then use this machine with the same user experience as if it would be an on-premise machine. Number two, this video is also interesting for everyone who wants to use their hardware most efficiently. So in case you have a server or a big machine and you want to enable multiple users to make use of that. So then Nice DCV gives you the possibility to have multiple users logged onto that machine, and each user will have the same user experience as if they would have their on-premise machine just at their desk. And number three, this video is also interesting for everyone who wants to have a great possibility for collaboration. And I believe right now that's like the most important use case, having these circumstances due to COVID, home working, remote working. Nice DCV enables multiple users to connect to the same session. So this actually gives you the feeling that you can share your screen and it feels like your colleague would just sit next to you and you have a look at the same screen together. So there are multiple possible installations for Nice DCV. So you can either install it manually on your on-premise server to enable multiple users on your hardware. Then you can have a manual installation on your hardware, on your machines, which you deployed in the cloud. Or last but not least, you deploy a machine in the cloud and use a ready-to-go machine image with pre-installed Nice DCV viewer already on it. And that's also what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so let's get started. So at first we will go to the AWS console and to the EC2 dashboard. And so just to be clear again, what we are going to do now is we will launch an EC2 instance, install a machine image provided by NISP, which has Nice DCV already pre-installed, and then we will do some software installation. So I will install the post-processing software TechPlot, copy over some files as well from the S3 bucket, and I will also show you how to get local files onto your virtual machines, and then we will get going with our software, and then I can show to you how great Nice DCV works as a virtual remote desktop. Okay, so at first we will launch our new instance. So we hit launch instances, and then the first step is that we are asked to select a machine image. So as I already told you, we will use an image provided by NISP, which has Nice DCV pre-installed. So that's our search pattern here. And now we are going to the AWS Marketplace, and here we can see several machine images provided by NISP for different operating systems. So now for this video tutorial, I'm going to select the CentOS 7 machine image. And now we can also see some pricing information for this image. And the second step is to choose an instance type. And here we can see already that a lot of the instance selections are grayed out, so they are not available for this image. And that's due to the requirements which comes with the machine image itself. So for the selected CentOS 7 machine image, this has the GPU support enabled. So here we are limited to instances which have GPU on board. So the pre-selection is a G4DN X large instance, and that's also the instance which is recommended by NISP to use together with this image. So if we now check out the G4DN instance family, then we can see that the pre-selection is actually the smallest one from this family. So the G4DN X Large has 2 cores, so 4 vCPUs and 16 gigabytes of memory. And it also has one T4 GPU on board, which also inherits 16 gigabyte of memory. So depending on the application that you want to run and the data that you want to process, you may need also to increase this and switch to a larger instance. There's just one more thing to notice about the G4DN instances. So in order to be able to use these ones, it may happen to you that you have to increase your AWS quota. For increasing this quota, there's also a link in the video description. So we will leave the pre-selection for now and go to the configuration details. So here we can leave most of the settings to the default values. Here it is just the IAM role we need to adapt. So the Nice DCV software needs to access the Nice DCV license, and this license is located in an S3 bucket. So this means you need to enable your EC2 instance to access S3 buckets. So I have created such a role previously already. The description on how to create such a role you can also find in the image description. So if you check out the marketplace and check out then the description of our CentOS 7 machine image, then we can go to the usage section and check out the usage instructions over here. And here there is the link on how to setting up such an IAM role. This link you can also find in the video description itself. And what's also important to know, even if you do not have such a role created right now, that's not a problem. You can still get started using with Nice DCV. Everything will work. You are able to add this later on as well. Okay, next thing is to add storage. So I won't add any additional storage, but maybe you want to, depending on the data that you want to bring onto that machine. So the only thing I will change here is to enable the AWS default encryption. Next step is adding tags. I also won't do this right now, but in general, adding tags is always a good idea because this way you can keep track on your projects and the related costs. Okay, so next step is to configure the security group. So to set up all the access that you permit to your instance. So I'm going to create a new security group, and already in the pre-settings you can see that 2 different types of access are required. So the one thing is the SSH access to your instance, and the other one is then later on for accessing the Nice DCV session itself, the port number 8443. So the only thing I will do now here is to restrict these accesses just to my IP. So if you later on want to enable multiple users to access Nice DCV sessions on the same virtual machine, then you would need to adapt the settings here to allow these users to access the machine. Now we can already review all our selections and settings and launch our instance. We just select the SSH key pair with which we want to connect to the machine, and we can launch. Now we can go back to our EC2 dashboard and check out our instance. So it is running already, it's still initializing, but we can already check out if we can connect via SSH. So for connecting via SSH, what we need to have is the public IP address, and we also need a username. And the username here depends on the operating system that we chose. So in our case, it's CentOS. Okay, so we connect SSH, CentOS, and give our IP address. Now there's only two more things that we need to do before we can use Nice DCV. So the first thing is that we have to give our user a password. That's that. And now we just need to create a Nice DCV session. So DCV, create session, and then we just give it a name. So the only thing I will add to that right now is the option to enable file transfer from my local machine. So that is minus storage minus root. And also this setting is something you can find in the usage description. So here you can see the Nice DCV command with a storage root option to enable file transfer support. Okay, so let's create the session. With DCV list sessions, we can check if the creation was successful. So here we can see we have created one virtual session which belongs to the owner CentOS. And what we can also do then right away is to create a second session for the same user. Again, we do list sessions, and now we can see we have created two virtual sessions which belong to the owner CentOS. And now we can connect to our remote desktop. So we can either connect using the browser, or we can connect using the Nice DCV native client. So let's start with using the browser. So we just open another tab and give the IP address. And now we have also to provide the port number. And starting with the hashtag, we also give the session name. This we need now because we have created multiple sessions already. So we give the session name. Now we can provide username and password. And there we go. So that's already our first connection. So we will now start with adding a few files and some software onto that machine. And at first I want to show you the file transfer to enable the upload of local files. So here with storage, I can hit upload file, and then I have access to my local files. So I will add a tecplot layout. And now let's check out if that is already there. And I can see layout is already on the machine. So next thing is to add some software onto that machine. And there's one recommendation in general. So if you use virtual machines more often and you really want to speed up your installation procedure, then it is a good idea to just do this installation once and then create a zipped archive from your installation files, store this archive on S3, and then later on for every new virtual machine, you just have to fetch the data, unpack it, and then you're ready to go. So this is something what I will show to you now. So I want to install the post-processing software tecplot. And I have already a zipped archive stored in S3. So I just get the URL for that one. And then I can go to my virtual machine. And copy the software over. Now, the only thing I need to do is to unpack it. And then I'm ready to go. So the only other thing I also will transfer is a TechPlot data file. And that's it. So now I can see already we do have the software, we have a data file and a layout file. So now we can get started. So I will just open the layout file, which I have copied. And there we are. So now, for example, if I just rotate this, then we can see already that if we keep in mind that this is not on my local machine, but on a virtual machine somewhere in the cloud, that it's really just a great user experience because you don't have any latency or delay in your interaction. So that's really great. Now I will also show you how you can connect to the same session with the DCV native client. And for that, at first I will make this window a bit smaller. And what you can see here is also the automatic adaptation of the display resolution to the size of your window. So that's also a really great feature of Nice DCV. And now I will come to the native client, and here again I will also provide the IP address, port 8443 and session name. Again, give username and password, and there we go. So now we have the same session in the browser and in the native client. And when we do some interaction, we can see that we have absolutely no latency and that it's really just a great user experience. And showing this is actually, I believe, a great feature for collaboration right now. So if you really want to discuss a specific case with your colleagues, so then it's really easy just to share the connection link and to connect to the same session and look at the same case and work on that together. Okay, so now I will also show you how you can connect as the same user to a different session. So when you remember, we have created two sessions for the user CentOS already, session number 1 and session number 2. So again, we give the IP address and the port number, and now we just give the session name session 2. Then again, we give username and password. And now we can see that we have another session for our user CentOS on the same virtual machine. So now we are connected to session 1 with a native client, also to session 1 in the browser, and we have a connection to session 2 also for user CentOS. And now the last thing I want to show you is how you can add another user on your machine and create a new session also for this additional user. So we go back to our terminal and add a new user. We name it just user 2. Then we also have to create a password for our new user. And now we have to create a DCV session for the new user. We will give it the name session number 3, and we will explicitly also say the owner will be our new user 2. And now we can check if this worked out correctly by using DCV list sessions. And now we can see that altogether we now have 3 virtual sessions on the same machine. 2 belong to the user CentOS and 1 belongs to the user number 2. And now we can also connect to that one. So again, giving the IP address, port number, and session name, session number 3. And now we just have to keep in mind that this time we have to use the new user and password. And there we go. So now we have, at the same time, we have 4 connections to the same machine to 3 different sessions. And yeah, that was it. So now I showed to you the various use cases and the various features of Nice DCV, and I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and now are also eager to test Nice DCV. So thanks for watching and have fun. Bye.